When you hear the names Ferrari and Lamborghini, your mind probably jumps straight to V12 engines, blinding speed, and just insane luxury. But this isn't really a story about cars. It's about a deeply personal fight between two Italian titans that, almost by accident, created a multi-billion-dollar industry. And believe it or not, it all kicked off with one brutal insult. This right here, this single legendary line, supposedly shot by the great Enzo Ferrari at a customer of all people named Ferruccio Lamborghini. Well, that was the spark. It was the moment that ignited one of the greatest rivalries in the history of business. So to really get how we got here, we've got to go back. Back to post-war Italy, a country literally rebuilding itself from the ground up. And at the heart of our story are two men, both brilliant, both unbelievably proud, and, as it turns out, on a collision course with each other. Now, you have to understand, Ferruccio Lamborghini wasn't just some rich guy with a fancy car. No way. He was a self-made industrialist. He built a fortune making tractors, of all things, and air conditioners. He was a hands-on mechanical guy. So when the clutch on his very expensive Ferrari kept failing, he did what any engineer would do. He took it apart himself. And what did he find? The clutch was basically the same kind of clutch he was putting in his tractor. And this is the moment everything changes. Ferruccio, thinking he's being helpful, goes directly to Enzo Ferrari with what he found, maybe with a few suggestions. And Ferrari, the proud, almost aristocratic racing purist, pretty much told him to stick to his tractors. For Ferruccio, this wasn't just bad customer service. It was a direct hit to his pride, an insult to his own engineering skill. And right there, in that moment, a simple complaint became a declaration of war. So what was it about these two that made them clash so hard? Well, to really get the rivalry, you have to understand that they had fundamentally opposite ideas about what a car should even be. On one side, you've got Enzo Ferrari. The man was a genius, but he was obsessed with the racetrack. For him, the cars he sold to the public were just a way to fund his racing team. They were raw, they were tough, but man, they won races. And then, on the other side, you have Ferruccio Lamborghini, a pragmatic, super rich industrialist who just loved luxury. He couldn't care less about racing. He wanted the perfect, most comfortable, most powerful grand touring car for the road. And you can see this difference perfectly right in their logos. Ferrari's prancing horse, it's all about elegance, racing history, pedigree. But Lamborghini's raging ball, which Ferruccio chose simply because it was his zodiac sign, that's all about raw, untamed power. It's a direct challenge. So, completely fueled by that insult, in 1963, Ferruccio goes and founds Automobile Lamborghini. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a business move. This was an act of pure revenge with one crystal clear mission. And he was not subtle about it. He built this brand new, state-of-the-art factory just a few miles down the road from Ferrari's own headquarters. I mean, he wasn't just entering the market, he was parking his tanks right on Ferrari's front lawn. So if Lamborghini's first few cars got people's attention, the Miura, in 1966, that was the bomb that dropped on the entire automotive world. Its design was from another planet, it had a V12 engine mounted in the middle, it was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. The Miura is, to this day, considered the first true modern supercar. And with the Miura, suddenly the battle lines were perfectly clear. Ferrari was for the racing enthusiast, the person who valued that prestige and on-track heritage. Lamborghini? That was for the dreamer, the person who wanted a spectacle, a rolling piece of artwork that absolutely owned the road. The market finally had a real choice. All right, so as the rivalry rocketed into the 1980s, it kind of escaped the winding roads of Italy and just exploded into global pop culture. This was the era of the poster car. On one side, you had the Lamborghini Countach. I mean, it looked like a spaceship. All sharp angles, those crazy scissor doors. It was the absolute symbol of 80s excess. And on the other side, you had the wide, elegant Ferrari Testarossa, a total icon of 80s style and cool. These weren't just cars anymore. They were status symbols you'd see in movies, music videos, and plastered on the bedroom walls of millions of kids. But, the story wasn't all glamour. Lamborghini really struggled through the oil crisis in the 70s, and the company changed hands a bunch of times. Ferrari, meanwhile, found stability by becoming part of the massive Fiat group. The key thing to realize here is that both of these brands, to survive, eventually needed powerful corporate parents. First Fiat for Ferrari, and then, crucially, the Volkswagen Group for Lamborghini in 1998. That's what allowed them to keep fighting into the modern age. Which, of course, brings us to today. That really intense personal feud between two guys has evolved into a global business battle fought with balance sheets, massive marketing campaigns, and now hybrid technology. Now, what's so fascinating about these numbers is actually how small they are. Sure, Ferrari makes a few thousand more cars a year, but both of these companies operate on a strategy of extreme exclusivity. This was never about volume. It's all about sky-high margins. And those high margins, they lead to gigantic revenues. Ferrari alone pulls in somewhere around 6 to 7 billion euros every year. It just goes to show you, they're not just a car company anymore. They're a publicly traded luxury brand that sells an idea just as much as it sells a vehicle. And their marketing today still reflects where they came from. Ferrari is reserved, exclusive, it leans heavily on its serious, institutional image and its racing heritage. Lamborghini, on the other hand, just embraces pop culture. It is the king of Instagram and TikTok, a symbol of loud, visible success that really connects with a younger crowd. So, after more than half a century of going at it, from little workshops in Italy all the way to the global stock market, who actually came out on top? It's the ultimate question, isn't it? The one this whole story has been building to. The tractor maker versus the racing legend. And the answer, as simple as it sounds, is that both of them won. And this is the real lesson here. Their rivalry forced both companies to be better, to innovate constantly, and to just push the absolute limits of what was possible. It didn't just split a market in two. It actually created the entire supercar market as we know it today. They raised the bar for absolutely everyone and cemented that Made in Italy label as the gold standard for car making. So the next time you see one of these incredible machines on the road, remember the story behind it. It's a powerful testament to how something as simple and as human as pride, one man's refusal to be dismissed and another's refusal to be beaten, can literally build empires.